Skipper here at Palmerston North was Hugh McGann. It was a 1-point loss. Hughie, can the boys reverse that result today?
Greg, I'm sure they can. They've got the team to do it, but they've got to shut down the likes of Gary Schofield and Martin Offiah. And one player in the Great Britain lineup who hasn't gone too well in Australia, who will fire today probably, is Dennis Betts, and I'm sure Gavin Hill will shut him down.
And Ken Laban, how do you fancy New Zealand's chances?
Well, if the Great Britain performances are going to be reflective of what they've been on the tour so far, they'll start favourites.
Okay, well, we should be in for a great match on a very firm track here at the Palmerston North Showgrounds. And let's have a look at how the two teams line up. New Zealand, just the one change to the starting lineup that beat PNG 66-10 last Sunday. Number 13, Brendan Tudor, is promoted from the reserves bench, replacing the unavailable Tawara Nitkau. Fullback Matthew Ridge, centres Iro and Kemp, halfback and captain Freeman, prop Todd, and hooker Dwayne Mann are 6 survivors from the last time the Kiwis took on Great Britain. And New Zealand won on that day in Christchurch in 1990 by 21-18. The coach is Howie Tamati. It's his second test in charge. Great Britain will centre Daryl Powell, winger Martin Chariots of Fire, standoff and captain Gary Schofield. The prop Kelvin Skerritt and second rower Dennis Betts are the survivors from the third test against New Zealand 2 years ago. They have a very fast and talented back line, the danger men, Schofield and Offiah. The forward pack is more experienced than the Kiwi pack. Lee Jackson at hooker is the only change to the forwards that played Australia in the third test loss in Brisbane. The coach, Mel Reilly.
One World of Sport and Lion Red proudly present coverage of today's Rugby League International. The Kiwis against Great Britain.
Gary Freeman leading the New Zealanders out onto the Palmerston North Showgrounds in his 30th test match, his 9th as skipper. And a good crowd has turned out to see if New Zealand can get off to a winning start in the best of 2 test match series against the Great Britain Lions. Brett Stewart, Matthew Ridge, Wayne Mann, and Ken Laban is going to take a big effort again today from the skipper Gary Freeman to get his side fired up against this big and very mobile Great Britain pack.
Yes, very organised, the Great Britain side around the middle of the field.
Schofield really made it very difficult for him, but I think Dean Clark is a more mature and a better player nowadays. Martin Offiah. Will we see the speech to touchdown today? New Zealand and Great Britain have played 84 test matches. Great Britain lead with 53 wins. New Zealand 28. They've had 3 draws. And it's underway, allowing it to bounce. First touch of the ball for Gavin Hill, and he's been crunched into the turf.
Yeah, very enthusiastic defence from the Great Britain side. 2 men in there straight away to try and stop Gavin Hill.
Freeman. Now it's Clark.
Huey, very interesting to see the Kiwis go wide on the second tackle in their own quarter.
So the Kiwis, with the work ahead of them, trying to get out of the 22 and a good run.
Yes, the New Zealand side will be very keen, Greg, to just advance the football and improve their field position.
There's the first kick downtown from Matthew Ridge. Graham Stedman slips. Penalty to Great Britain. The Kiwis inside the allowable area. The crowd didn't like it. And Harrigan right on the spot. First penalty to Great Britain. Graham Stedman kicking for the grandstand touch. He's been one of the stars on the tour in recent weeks, Graham Stedman. Jackson. Now it's Kelvin Skerritt, the big Wigan prop.
Yeah, there'll be much expected of the Wigan front rowers. Skerritt.
Andy Platt now. Phil Clark.
Very simple stuff from the Great Britain side.
Now Harrigan has spotted something in there. And he's calling Gavin Hill out. So the second penalty to Great Britain, and this is not what New Zealand needed. Well and truly within the kicking range.
Number 11, Gavin Hill, comes in with a short arm to the head area. Very lucky not to be spending time in the sin bin.
It's another great start by Gavin Hill, giving away a kickable penalty. I know Kiwi coach Howie Tamati was very keen for New Zealand to get the first points on the board. Eastwood from the Hull club. It's his 13th test, and he's been a test regular on the tour. 3 tries and 17 goals. A delay as they try and get some more sand onto the field. Looks like Joe Lydon doing the running job of the sand. So a chance for both teams to regroup at the moment while we have this delay.
Yeah, it's these sort of delays that can be very disruptive to the players' preparation, especially in such an important match as this one. Greg, they'll just have to overcome this little delay. New Zealand will be very concerned about their error rate.
Well, the crowd giving him a bit of a hurry up and a long delay. Paul Eastwood moves in to try and put the first points on the board. He struck it pretty well, but it's away to the left. A let-off for the Kiwis. Eastwood hasn't been missing too many that close on the tour of Australia.
Yeah, but he did the right thing and kicked it dead, which means forces the New Zealand side to drop off from their 22 and Great Britain get the ball back.
Stedman runs into Big Cavalero. O'Fire. Now Sean Hoppy has been told not to leave O'Fire's side today. Edwards. Billy McGinty on the quarter line. Great Britain end of the field. Platt takes it up. Runs into Brent Stewart and Brent Todd. Edwards. Schofield. Oh, good tackle by Freeman. Fifth tackle. Back to Stedman. Got away from the chaser. Tudor gets the left-footed kick in. Todd takes it. Gives it to Matthew Ridge. Running backwards, Ridge. But he gets it out to Blackmore.
Defensively, that was a very strong set from the New Zealand side. Restricting the Great Britain team to only 10 metres from that set of 6 and only gaining good yards from the kick. And from the first turnover, the New Zealand side managed to get themselves a penalty, so this will be a good attacking opportunity for them as well as to improve their field position.
Hugh again is sideline. How do you rate the opening stanza, Hugh?
Well, I think it's just both sets of forwards have been just settling themselves down. New Zealand have been throwing the ball out a little wider. Actually, the first part where the kick was taken by Paul Eastwood, I think it's great tactics that he kick as much as he can in this first half, use up as much time running into the wind, and New Zealand really, if they want to get things going, they've got to have to play down in Great Britain's half, not take out 3, 4, 5 tackles, do what Gary's doing now, play down in their half.
Good hands there from Lee Jackson, the hooker.
Yes, one area of the game where the Great Britain team has performed very well on their tour has been their ability to get away from their own quarter, so this will be an interesting set of 6 to see how well they can get now.
Great Britain inside the 22. Jackson.
Very good tackle by Brendan Tudor, good ball and all hit.
We've seen a couple of the Great Britain players slipping out there on the surface. Skerritt away from one. Midway, halfway, and the 22, Great Britain end of the line. Ground. Schofield. 0-0 the score. Ridge beautifully positioned. He's 10 metres from halfway. Sean Hoppy in from the wing.
Hugh, very typical stuff in the test match. Cat and mouse exchanging sets of 6.
Oh yeah, no doubt at all, and you'll see this for the first 10 or 15 minutes, but I just stress the point again, where Matthew Ridge took that kick, he really should have just returned it and played Great Britain down in their own 22. You know, don't take these tackles early up, play the game down in their half.
Freeman looking for the runners. He finds Ridge up from fullback. It's a good tackle though from Connolly. Freeman. They like their chances down the blind side. Gavin Hill pops it back. Ridge puts it high. Stedman was well positioned. The crowd
Yeah, that's the sort of defensive work that they're going to have to do to contain this Great Britain side, particularly the fullback Graham Steadman. Scored a magnificent solo try for the Great Britain side in the recently completed Test series against Australia. He's a player to watch, Greg.
Skerritt. Edwards. This is Howard Clark. Schofield. Freeman. And also Mann in there.
Yes, Greg, that's the second key tackle that Gary Freeman's made on Gary Schofield. And this match has obviously got his play worked out.
And maybe Gary's taken it upon himself to look after Gary Schofield, the captain doing the job for everyone.
There's no better way to lead, is there, Hugh?
No doubt at all.
Hoppy.
Just to say, that had to have been a penalty. Martin O'Fire was probably about 5 metres away.
It was very unlike Gary Freeman to remind the referee they're inside the 10 as well, Hugh.
Very unlike him.
0-0 the score at the Palmerston North Showgrounds. 1 World of Sport, the opening test. Stewart. McGinty in there. Yes, over the top, Clark.
Yes, Greg, big responsibility on Brent Stewart and Brent Todd to get some authority and some go forward around and play the ball for the New Zealand side. Bread and butter stuff, but it's got to be done early in the match.
Freeman, Clark, Dean Clark. 15 metres inside Great Britain territory. Freeman, the long ball out to Ridge up from fullback. Great Britain defence is too good.
Unlike last week, Hugh, one area in the game where the New Zealand side's been matched is the talking defence of the Great Britain side.
Yeah, well, that's shown in the way they're playing at the moment.
Hero. 20 metres now inside Great Britain territory. Final tackle coming up. Freeman wants it down the blind. And a touch in goal, so it's a restart on the quarter line for the Lions.
Yeah, just a little bit too weighted, but that was a shot on the last tackle. Just a player in at first receiver, put the ball into the end goal, catch the opposition there and force a back-to-back set of 6.
Billy McGinty.
Yeah, very predictable side, the Great Britain team near their own line. Dummy half runs and one off to play the ball. Should be very easy for the New Zealand side to defend against Hugh.
Yeah, very much so. If they can compress their defence the way that they've trained all week, I'm sure that they can. But they need to look after blokes like this. Sean Edwards, given him the space, is a very dangerous man.
Jackson. Pretty tight stuff at the moment. Final tackle. Stebbins finds the open spaces. Hoppy.
He's turned into a very powerful competitor. Not that he was any less of a one when he played on the local scene, Sean Hoppy, but this season at Canberra Raiders has really made him into a very strong performer, especially running from dummy half and doing extra responsibilities around the ruck.
Here's Tony Kemp. Hero cleans up. Brendan Tuta.
The New Zealand side very keen to keep the ball alive on the edge of the play the ball area.
Todd, Freeman, Kemp. Back to Freeman. Gavin Hill. He really only knows one way to run, and that's straight up the middle.
Yes, he's had a very strong influence on this game on defence as well, Gavin Hill. He's played strongly so far.
There's the kick from Dean Clark. Stebbin not really under any pressure, and the ball goes dead.
Still, the New Zealand side shouldn't be too disappointed. Hugh, they've got good field position, haven't they?
Well, they have so far, but nothing has come out of it. That's the first time they've really tried something a little different. They've got to vary the game up. I think both sets, both teams are waiting for something to happen. They just seem to be going through the motions at this stage.
Andy Platt. Dennis Betts.
An outstanding player, Dennis Betts. Had a very strong couple of seasons with the Wigan club, and he's very highly regarded in the world of rugby league.
Edwards not able to find the space, about a metre inside Great Britain territory. They're a little flat-footed, so Edwards does something about it. And he's going to get the right bounce. Is he? No, just manages to stay in the field of play. And Ridge can't get away from Connolly, Clark, and also Eastwood in there.
It's a very tight start from both sides, Greg. very conservative in the execution of their sets of 6.
Nil all the score as Stewart takes it up to the halfway line. Freeman. This is out Clark. Cavaniello. Good run. Post on over the top to Aero. Chance for New Zealand. And it goes to Tony Kemp. The first try of the match. New Zealand 4. Great Britain 0. The crowd love it. Great stuff.
One of the most impressive combinations for the New Zealand Rugby League in recent years has been the centre pairing of Kevin Needle and Tony Kemp. They've been marvellous performers right through from the under-15s grade right through up into the senior ranks. On the Lion Red replay, Kevin Needle gets an untidy ball back to his captain Gary Freeman, backing up on the inside. He steps on the inside and gives a nice long ball to that man Tony Kemp, who played so marvellously well against Papua New Guinea last week to score a fabulous try for New Zealand.
Great start by New Zealand. Tony Kemp, just a bit of watch out the way he puts this ball down here. Things can go against you if you start things like that. He should make things a little more professional, as we see from Kevin Iro. As you said, a great ball, lucky ball, out the back. Gary Freeman on hand as always. Outside to Tony Kemp, and he showed some tremendous speed get down the sideline. Left Paul Eastwood for dead. Tony Kemp around the side. As I said, here you need to be a little more careful putting that ball down.
Tony Kemp is very fast for a man that size, 15.5 stone, playing in the centres for the Newcastle Knights.
His 5th test try and his 15th test match. Matthew Ridge looking for a better performance with his goal kicking today. Missed quite a few last week against the Kumals. Everyone's entitled to a day off, I guess. But he's such a professional. Been practicing all week. And this one's away. So the score remains New Zealand 4, Great Britain 0. And I think Howie Tamati might be a little happy there. Tony Kemp, 24 years of age. Good confident start by the big centre.
It is what New Zealand needed. With the amount of possession that they did have, they weren't really had anything to show for it, but that, after such a short period of time, able to get back on the board. A good start for New Zealand. Hopefully they can continue it with the win behind them.
Hugh, I don't like reminding you about it, but 2 years ago New Zealand also scored the first points, but the Great Britain side were able to come back, so it'll be interesting to see what unfolds today.
Yeah, and exactly, and we also played with the wind in the first half, but just didn't do enough with it in the second, and unfortunate, or the way that things turned out, we end up on the losing side. Hopefully it's not a scene for today.
Dean Clark, 20 metres from halfway. Brad Stewart runs into McGinty.
Hugh, last week Brent Stewart had a very strong game against Papua New Guinea. Today will be a real test of his ability.
Oh, no doubt at all, and going up, propping up against Andy Platt, he'll soon test him, that's for sure, and Andy, one of the true professionals, will probably teach Brent a few things, but Brent will probably also teach Andy a few things today.
Well, that ball dead in goal again, and it's interesting to note here at the Palmerston North Showgrounds, they've actually shortened the in-goal area. Rugby Union played on the ground most of the time, of course, and the laws say that the Rugby League in-goal area must be between 6 and 11 metres, and I guess with Gary Schofield against you, the New Zealanders opted for a very short one. As Great Britain run it out again, 10 metres from halfway.
Yes, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kiwi coach Howie Tamati had a hand in that, because there's nothing worse from a defensive point of view, Greg, than getting caught in the end goal with the football. So if you've got a short in goal, it's likely to go dead quick, which means you get a reprieve going back to the 22.
Okay, this is Clark running onto it, but that was Tony Kemp, the New Zealand try scorer, that read that one pretty well. Edwards back inside to Connolly, the youngster of the team, only 20 years of age, Gary Connolly. Welcome to Palmerston North, son.
Yeah, Dwayne Mann's made a couple of very crucial hits for the New Zealand side.
Richard Blackmore. What a great international career Blackmore has had, but he's just made a mess of that. 7th test match today for Richie Blackmore, and he's already scored 8 tries, but the handover of possession is dangerous. Great Britain now spinning it wide, bringing Stedman in. O'Fire can't get away from Hoppy.
Yeah, Sean Hoppy's had his measure a couple of times now. It's only early in the game, but still it's a confident start for the young winger against Martin O'Fire.
Schofield showing it. Picks up Clark. Back inside it goes. There's the reply. Sean Edwards between the sticks. What a fine reply. Classy stuff from Great Britain. They really caught New Zealand napping that. It's 4-all at Palmerston North.
The measure of any team's ability is usually by how they can punish sides for making an error. We saw Richard Blackmore turn the ball over on the first tackle, and from the resulting set of 6, we see a great ball from Phil Clark to his Wigan teammate Sean Edwards, with a great step of his right foot to beat Matthew Ridge and coast over for a very important try to bring Great Britain right back into this match.
One of the danger men again, as we see Sean Edwards taking that ball, and didn't he just leave Matthew Ridge standing? Take sets of sights on the goalpost under the sticks. What a great start for Great Britain. But again, it was the connection, the Wigan connection, that started that whole thing off. Gary Schofield on hand. He wasn't needed in this particular case. Sean Edwards, good start.
Sean Edwards from Wigan, 26th test today. His 5th on tour. He hasn't been a starter in all of the tests though. Paul Eastwood will try and add the extra 2. His 2nd shot at goal today. First penalty was unsuccessful.
Well, he won't miss this one, Greg. It's in front.
So with 22 minutes of play remaining in the first half, it's 6-4. Great Britain over New Zealand. Hope you're enjoying the first of the test matches and the 2-match series on One World of Sport.
Hugh, one of the difficulties when you're playing in a match at this level is that if you cough up the football anywhere near your own try line and the opposition team on attack get to put on a set of 6, very difficult to defend against because you don't have that room behind you.
Well, I'll certainly know Richie Blackmore doesn't need anyone to remind him of just how crucial that mistake was. He'll be a little upset, but I'm sure he'll get back into this game like the rest of the players. But again, I stress that New Zealand should really be playing Great Britain down in their own half. They're spending too much time going through their sets of tackles up in their own half. As soon as they get it, just reef it down and play the game down there.
Dennis Betts lost it in the tackle. The referee's going to back a scrum down. Betts doesn't like it. He believes it was stolen from him.
Well, it was, but the referee was unsighted, and the New Zealand side get the benefit. Sean Edwards having plenty to say to referee Billy Harrigan.
Well, here's our chance to reply.
Scrum on the 22. They like it down the blind side. Tuta can't get away from McGinty. And Edwards. Dwayne Mann. Chance for New Zealand. 12 metres out, down the blind side. Quentin Pongia pops one back inside to Tuta. He's 8 metres out. Freeman wants it. Back inside it goes to Gavin Hill. The gap soon closed. Couple of tackles remaining in this set. Freeman. Iro. Back to nobody. It's been touched by Great Britain and they'll come away with it. No, there's a knock-on in there. Let's see who the referee gives the feed to.
I think the referee will indicate that it's going to be a feed to the New Zealand side with the knock forward from the Great Britain team. So here's another great opportunity for the Kiwis to put on a set play. Possession of the football, good field position.
Very lucky New Zealand to get that back again after a mistake.
Clark. Kemp, the double round with Clark. He brings Matthew Ridge into it. Hero. Here's Stewart.
Strong run from the big front row, an important 1-2 down this end of the field.
Freeman. Clark. Can't free his hands to get it away. About 15 metres out. Great Britain leading by 2 points, 6-4. Tuta. Freeman wants it out to the open side, to the right. Tony Kemp. Hero. Kevin Eno. Puts it out to Freeman. Into touch. No try.
They're going to be a real handful for the Great Britain side this afternoon. Kevin Eno and Tony Kemp. Again, they put on that big play. You see Kevin Eno, the big 6'3", 101k centre, get a one-handed pass to his captain Gary Freeman. Just pushed in over the touchline. A brave effort from the cameraman as well, Greg.
Yeah, I'd like to see that shot from the camera.
Well, Great Britain now come away with it. And Freeman is around there to get onto his opposite number. O'Fire, but the Kiwis a little too enthusiastic. O'Fire not too happy with what happened in the tackle there.
Well, there was nothing wrong with that with Gary Freeman. Martin O'Fire had possession of the football, tried to pinch a couple of easy metres from dummy half, and Gary Freeman went in and hit him hard. It might have been a little bit harsh, but there was nothing wrong with it.
After the event, Gary Schofield went over and had a chat to Gary Freeman as well.
Huey, it's a test match. There's nothing wrong with that, was there?
Well, I was actually a little unsighted as to what actually happened. As they shake hands, they're just competitive people. They're in a tight atmosphere. They're in a tight situation. It's just things that go against one team or one person. You know, usually makes a difference. But as I said, competitive people. They're in a competitive situation. I'm sure anything can happen.
Good run from Platt.
That's his forte, Lee Jackson. He likes to get out of dummy half quickly, and he's one bloke that Dwayne Mann or the rest of the players in the ruck area have to keep an eye on. He makes very, very good yards.
Yes, and equally, Brendan Tudor has been strong defensively around the play the ball area for the New Zealand side, hasn't he? He made some valuable tackles.
Well, he's in a crucial position where he needs to do that type of work. It's expected of Brendan. I'm sure before the day's out, he would be high up in the tackle count.
Final tackle for Great Britain. Stedman.
That's good pressure by Dean Clark, and has showed.
Yes, out on the full. There'll be a handover to the Kiwis.
Yes, that shows the worth of keeping your concentration level up and working hard on the sixth tackle. That was an excellent chase from Dean Clark to force Graham Stedman to hurry the kick, Greg, and kick it out on the full.
Great Britain 6, New Zealand 4. 16 minutes remaining in the first half. Freeman had another busy game today. Freeman, leads his side well. That time, couldn't get away from Dennis Betts. About a metre inside New Zealand's territory. Tudor, back to Freeman again. Richard Blackmore. New Zealanders not really going anywhere.
Let's go forward.
Quentin Pongia pops one over to nobody. Oh, Martin O'Fire was there. Now there's a chance for Great Britain out wide if they can keep it alive. McGinty's away. Billy McGinty, but he's run away from his support out wide, but a good run from the second rower. And the New Zealand defence a little stretched at the moment. And it's back to one.
It was unlucky play there from the New Zealand side. Good attempt by Dwayne Mann to try and get the ball back.
Darryl Powell. Crossfield. Shoulder charge from Hilo.
Huey, we're starting to look a bit rattled in defence.
Not only in defence, but in that last passage of play in attack, we just seem to be going across field looking for something to happen without anyone taking it forward, and we've paid with the consequences.
Phil Clark to play it on the quarter line. Edwards. Schofield. Gary Schofield. Can't get the pass away this time. Penalty to Great Britain in kicking distance as well. That time Harrigan said that the New Zealanders went in and went for the ball while the player was held, so it'll be Eastwood to have another shot at goal.
Normally you'd be fairly critical of a play like that, but given the state that the New Zealand side was struggling to get back and regroup in defence, it's probably a fair play to just concede the two. I think if the Great Britain side had been able to maintain their stream of fast play the balls that they were getting, I think they would have posted a try. So perhaps under the circumstances, Hugh, it's probably not such a bad idea that we're only conceding two.
Well, actually, I'm sorry to say this, Cam, but I disagree. If I was the captain out there, I'd be absolutely ropeable for Tony Kemp to have conceded a penalty like that. You know, we were struggling, but still 2 points is 2 points, and when we're going into the win, the last thing you want to do is give Great Britain the ball, and especially a player like Paul Eastwood, who's chewing up the time, an opportunity to score an extra two. So I'm sorry, mate, I've got to disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, but gee, we're struggling to get back in numbers though, aren't we, mate?
We are starting to feel the effects, that's for sure.
The crowd not being very fair. Booing Eastwood as he moves in. And it's through. So with 13 minutes to go to half-time, it's Great Britain leading New Zealand by 8 points to 4.
Yeah, what will be a worry for Coach Howie Tamati too is that on the last 2 occasions that the Great Britain side have been able to get down to the New Zealand line, they've been able to score, whereas we've dominated field position for the great part of this first half and only been able to get over for the 1 score.
And the 2 times that they have scored have come off our mistakes.
Ridge with the restart. Dennis Betts running it out.
Yeah, they need to tackle with a lot of intensity and a lot of enthusiasm now, the New Zealand side. Try and keep this Great Britain team down this end of the park. Big effort in defence, might be able to force a turnover and give us another attacking opportunity.
Andy Platt.
The Wigan front rowers have played very strongly in this game so far.
Jackson. Since the Great Britain side is starting to grow in confidence. Skerritt. And Hill are in there to put him into the turf. About 8 metres from halfway.
He's had a quiet game so far, but Kelvin Skerritt's one player that has impressed on this tour. He was here obviously in 1990 with the team, but he was injury struck on there and he didn't perform up to his standard, but he's really performing out there this year for the Great Britain side.
Tony Kemp's put it away. Oh, lucky let off there. Eastwood was almost in the clear. So another mistake. The New Zealanders have to regroup. Edwards. Midway, halfway in the quarter line. New Zealand's end of the ground. Costly errors. Schofield. Inside to Betts. McGinty. Schofield, Edwards, the double round with Schofield. Betts.
Yes, well read by Dean Clark and Tony Kemp. Strong defensive effort as well.
Betts taking plenty of time to get up. There's the grubber kick from Sean Edwards, and it's going to be too big. So we'll have a restart back on the quarter line for New Zealand.
Yes, well read by Matthew Ridge. It was a 50-50 ball, but he judged it just perfectly. Rolls over the dead ball line. Tap 22 for the Kiwis.
Hopping in from the wing. Makes 10 metres. No marker. So he makes another 8 or so metres.
Yeah, that's valuable yards too from Sean Hoppy. Plays very strongly around that dummy half area.
Todd to Freeman. To Dean Clark. Back inside to nobody. Freeman. Now it's back to Brendan Tuta. Up to the halfway line. Skerritt has him.
That's strong running too from Brendan Tuta. Up the middle of the park and get valuable yards.
Todd. Kemp. Inside to Uno. Penalty to the Kiwis. And Matthew Reeds will have a shot at goal from there. Phil Clark, the loose forward, penalised there. A little too enthusiastic in the tackle.
Kevin Edor trying to force a quick play the ball so that it can produce a good attacking opportunity for the New Zealand side. Dwayne Mann at dummy half asking for the referee to give a fair go, and he does.
That's the distance for Ridge. Ball just to the left of your screen. 35 metres out. 12 metres in from the out of touch. Well, he's used to performing under pressure week in and week out of the Winfield Cup. This is another pressure kick. It's got the distance. Straight between the uprights. So New Zealand pegged them back a bit. With about 9 minutes to go to half-time. Great Britain now leading by 8-6.
Yes, and there wouldn't be a better player in rugby league with a more professional attitude than Matthew Ridge, who really has been magnificent since he came over from rugby union, straight into first grade at Manly. Been a very, very consistent performer in the tough competition of the Winfield Cup, and so far for the New Zealand side in the last couple of years, he's been outstanding.
Matthew Ridge getting close to 50 points in International Rugby League as well. He's 4 points away from it now. And only his 6th test. Gavin Hill. 3 Lions defenders are there to beat him, almost on the quarter line. New Zealand into the ground. Freeman. Dean Clark. Now Brent Stewart changes the angle. Makes a bit of stopping, the former West Coaster.
Yes, he's played very well, Brent Stewart. He was the MVP player last week against Papua New Guinea, and he's continued that great form. I think he's been a great find for the New Zealand side.
After the match today, we'll be announcing our UBIC's most valuable player of the day and updating the scores for the series. Martin Offiah, he hasn't had many opportunities out on his wing today.
The New Zealand side will be pleased that it maintains that way as well, Greg.
Billy McGinty about 11 metres from halfway. Great Britain end of the ground. As we have a look at Platt.
One area of the game where the Great Britain side have been very impressive is their organisation around the play the ball area. They've got a no-frills forward pack that do the hard yards, complete their sets of 6, and they've got some outstanding halves which I think could be very telling in the game. And we see here referee Billy Harrigan from Australia, who has ruled the New Zealand side inside the 5 metres, and again another opportunity for the Great Britain side. They get a set of 6 about 23, 24 metres out from the New Zealand goal line. A lot of pressure for them to absorb now, Greg.
Kelvin Skerritt up to the quarter line. Mistake, and New Zealand come away with it. Brendan Tuta. Freeman, Clark, it's 3-on-1 out wide, and Ridge couldn't quite get through the gap. Mann, the marvellous performer Dwayne Mann's been for New Zealand, his 20th consecutive test match since making his debut in 1989.
Yes, and he's having a big influence in this match as well. Greg, his work at dummy half has been very strong, and defensively he's put on some good hits on the Great Britain side.
Now this man, Brent Todd, is playing his 24th test, but it's his 21st on a roll in a row. Freeman playing his 30th consecutive test. Good work out wide before the ball goes into touch. Hero and Kemp trying to work their combinations. Just didn't quite pay off then.
Yeah, the idea was right. It was just the execution that went wrong at the end.
Halfway line. Edwards brings Stedman in. Kemp has him 10 metres from halfway. 5 minutes to go in the first half. Great Britain 8, New Zealand 6. One World of Sport at the Palmerston North Showgrounds with the opening test match. The second test next Sunday at Carwell Park in Auckland. Of course, on Wednesday night in Christchurch. Great Britain take on Canterbury.
Kerry, the New Zealand side using the 2-marker defence, and so far it seems to be working.
Well, Great Britain haven't beaten them up the closer end of the ruck here. I know it's an area of the play that New Zealand have worked on, and it is working well for them. Hopefully it can continue, because if they tire, players like Lee Jackson and Sean Edwards get in around that area will make you look silly.
Matthew Ridge throws the dummy, the fullback. Good run from Ridge.
Well, you couldn't ask for a better effort than that from a fullback. Took the ball on the full running backwards and then advanced at 24 metres to help his team's cause. Great play, Matthew Ridge. Another strong run too from Kevin Edel, just to settle a couple of rucks down while the forwards get set to take the ball up.
Dwayne Mann, Freeman, Tuta. Oh, but he's thrown the pass forward and it's been picked up by, I think it was Gary Conley, the young centre. So quite a few errors in there, but Great Britain come away with it. New Zealand just trying to force that last pass away, coming undone on a couple of occasions. Platt.
The New Zealand side have got to make sure that they're right on top of their game in defence. You see Martin Offiah has come off his wing. He's just hovering around to play the ball area, looking for a short ball off one of these breaks.
Knock on.
Good play by the New Zealand side. In trouble. Opposition had the ball and they didn't have field position, Greg. making a good tackle like that, forcing a turnover is great stuff and allows them to regroup.
Clark. Tony Kemp. Inside to Kevin Edall. Pushes off his former Wigan teammate Dennis Betts. Can't get away from Clark and McGinty. Freeman. Bridge. 10 metres from halfway.
Gee, it's been a tough battle around the play the ball area, particularly between the front rowers. On both sides, hasn't it, Hugh?
Yeah, no quarter given by either team, and it has set the foundation for the Great Britain side, but New Zealand really haven't done enough with the ball. With plays like this, they should be looking to go out wider. Gary Freeman, as he always is, on hand to make sure things are done well.
Quentin Pongia, just one tackle left. Freeman. There's the kick. There's the chase. O'Fire's back there, and Hoppy's right on him. Goalmouth drop out. New Zealand will get it back. They get another chance with a couple of minutes to go before half-time.
Yes, great play from the New Zealand side on the last tackle. Gary Freeman, the well-performed captain of the New Zealand side, puts a kick up on the last. Great tackle by Sean and Hoppy. He's had the message of Martin O'Fire so far in this game.
Not enjoying the time wasting. Martin O'Fire under plenty of pressure from that kick from Freeman. Tuna on the halfway line, gives it to Richard Blackmore. Great Britain 8, New Zealand 6. Gavin Hill. That's the 22.
Great field position.
Stewart. Possibly the last set of 6 before half-time. Clark, Dean Clark. Good defence from Great Britain though. Freeman wants it down the blind. There's Brendan Tuta. Brendan Tuta with the dummy. Final tackle on the way. Freeman. They're going to continue to try and get out the blind, but Freeman couldn't do anything with it then. That'll be the handover. So Great Britain survive. With half-time approaching, Hume again, what would your message be to the Kiwis?
Well, at this stage now, it has to be defence in the second half. They'll be going into the wind. I know Great Britain will be using the kicking game to great effect. So it'll be just what they're doing now. They're going to have to go in and really tackle hard.
It is half-time at the Palmerston North Showgrounds. 1 try apiece in the first half. But Great Britain have the lead by 8 points to 6. Freeman. This is out Clark. Kevin Edall. Good run. Crossed on over the top. The hero chance for New Zealand. Out goes the Tony Kemp. The first try of the match. New Zealand 4, Great Britain 0. The crowd love it. Great stuff. Second half underway. Bridge with the start. His opposite number, Graham Stedman, comes away with it.
Another strong tackle from Dwayne Mann, working hard around the dummy half area for the New Zealand side.
Dennis Betts. Clark. Andy Platt. Andy Platt propping today, but in his international career he's also played hooker. Second row, loose forward. So the first scrum of the second half. And an opportunity for the Kiwis.
And as we saw that ball dropped by Carl Harrison, who's out there and replacing Kelvin Skerritt.
Midway, halfway, and the quarter line. Great Britain into the line. Brent Todd settling run. Runs into number 17, Harrison from Halifax, his 7th test. Tuta to the quarter line. 8 points to 6. Great Britain leading New Zealand. Gary Freeman looking for the runners. Matthew Ridge. Blackmore. The Vets has him. One tackle to go. Freeman. Clark. There's the kick. Looking for the chasers. But Stedman read it pretty well and comes away with it 10 metres from his own line.
Yes, good anticipation by the Great Britain fullback Graham Stedman. He read that kick very well from the New Zealand side and managed to take it on the run.
Phil Clark. 2 tackles by Iro in a row around the legs. Jackson. Fire. The crowd enjoying the New Zealand defence in this set of 6. This is big Carl Harrison. 1 tackle to go. Stedman with the clearing kick. Expect to see plenty of that in the second half, with the breeze favouring the tourists. Now it's Blackmore. Todd over halfway.
Yes, with this test match so evenly poised, both sides will be very keen to try and get some early points on the board so they can assert some authority later on in the match.
Well, Freeman had to clean up there just in time.
Yeah, excellent work by Gary Freeman too to tidy up that in the face of a lot of pressure from the Great Britain side.
Brett Stewart takes a tackle. Good chasing from Tuta, put a lot of pressure on Stedman, but the British fullback was certainly up to it. McGinty to play it.
Very important now for the New Zealand side to try and force a turnover defensively and get back the ball with good field position.
Edwards has to go on his own, makes it to the quarter line in his own territory. Harrison, Pongia underneath. Final tackle. Clark with the kick. Ridge back inside his own quarter. Good chasing by Great Britain. Sean Hoppy up to the quarter line.
Yes, the boot's on the other foot now. The Great Britain side likewise will be very keen to try and force a turnover defensively now. The New Zealand side, by comparison, they've got to do the hard stuff around to play the ball area, complete the set of 6, get a good kick and advance the field position.
Brent Stewart still taking it forward. He'll do that all day. Pongia about 8 metres from halfway on the final tackle. Freeman over the head of Stedman. And the in-goal area is very short here at the showgrounds in Palmerston North. That ball was too long, so we have a restart. John Devereux on the right, one of the replacements. Former Welsh rugby international, 21 rugby caps for Wales. Switching to Widnes.
Yes, and he must have gone very close to selection in this first test side for Great Britain. He played very strongly on Wednesday night against Auckland.
Harrison, shoulder charge coming in from Quentin Pongia. Now it's Dennis Betts.
Been well contained so far in this match. Dennis Betts, he is a major threat in possession with the football.
Gary Connolly, the young centre, a good run. Out it goes to Martin O'Fire. Pops one back inside to Lee Jackson. Just couldn't free his hands to get it away, but play-ons is the referee. New Zealand in big trouble here. Out to Gary Schofield. Schofield pops one over. They keep it alive. Phil Clark has it, racing for the corner. What a try! Great Britain are in.
Well, the New Zealand side were always going to be in trouble at some stage in the football match when that man on the right-hand side of the screen, Martin O'Fire, was going to become involved in this match. He got an opportunity in the middle of the play the ball area with some missed tackles there we see on the Lion Red replay. Gary Schofield, a brilliant flick-out pass. Ball to Martin O'Fire, keeps it alive, picks up Phil Clark, his Wigan teammate on the run. He sets his sights for the goal line. As a player inside, just gets away from the tackle of Quentin Pongia to score a very valuable try for the Great Britain side. Would have looked good from the sideline, Hugh.
Tremendous work by Great Britain and Phil Clark on hand to score that try, but It was initially started way down in their own half. This pass coming up very shortly from Martin O'Fire, I would have called forward. We'll have a look at this. Touch and go. Yeah, touch and go that one, but still great work by the Great Britain side. They have great support. Tackles haven't been finished off. Lee Jackson was able to get up and go again. Again, looks for support. He has it in Gary Schofield outside, and what a pass by Gary Schofield as we see coming up was taken. Enough players around there to take these players out, but just weren't out. Again, great hands by Martin O'Fire outside. Here we see, there he is, Phil Clark, picks it up, sets the side in the corner, as been mentioned. Great start for the second half of this Great Britain side.
Phil Clark from the Wigan club.
He's a very highly regarded player too. Philip Clark, Greg, he's been touted by many people as a future captain of Great Britain.
3 tries on tour, his 6th test match, his 5th test on this tour. 1 against Papua New Guinea, 3 against Australia, and of course 1 here. Got a claret coming out of the mouth of Paul Eastwood. A difficult conversion attempt from the sideline. What a kick! So this has really given Great Britain, the Lions, plenty of confidence now. 32 minutes to go in the match, and it's Great Britain leading by 14-6.
One area of the game where I've been really impressed with this Great Britain side is their professionalism and being able to finish the New Zealand side off when they get field position. Again, that was probably the 3rd occasion that the Great Britain side have been down or ventured down into the New Zealand half and have managed to come up with points.
Tia Ropati warming up on the New Zealand bench. That's exactly what they didn't want after a pretty good opening couple of minutes on defence, New Zealand. So Great Britain now, with all this experience in their side, it will be very difficult to peg back.
Yes, and a measure of their professionalism as well, Greg, is the fact that they have been playing the game patiently, doing the simple stuff, good hard yards. There's another strong run from one of their forwards, completing their sets of 6 and being able to come up with valuable points.
The try scorer, Phil Clark, son of Colin Clark, who toured New Zealand back in 1966 with the British Lions. Powell up to the halfway line.
Greg, one thing Great Britain are doing is that they're getting good roll-ons. They're getting great service from dummy half. They're getting quick play of the balls, and New Zealand aren't even setting themselves in their defensive line before they're even going forward. So Great Britain are doing excellent work.
The pace of this game is starting to tell on the New Zealand side, isn't it, Hugh? And an indication to the tough tour that the Great Britain side have been through Australia, where the pace of the game is quicker over there.
Well, they were always going to be on the front foot as far as that was concerned. They've had a hard tour, had a great tour of Australia, and that's holding them in good stead for this game.
A lot of people thought that Great Britain may be a little flat after missing out on the Ashes series in Australia, but I think their professionalism is pretty evident out there today.
Yes, well, it's been a hallmark of certainly their performance throughout this tour so far. With 10 minutes gone in the second half, Greg, they've been able to play very professionally indeed.
Clearing kick from Freeman, and Eastwood is back there. Dean Clark the chaser, and Ero. Quarter line, Great Britain end of the line, ground.
Again, very simple stuff from Great Britain when they get caught with a ball near their own quarter. Dummy half runs, short plays, off to play the ball area, quick play the balls and get that valuable roll on that Hugh talked about before.
Harrison. Simple stuff, but it's the stuff that wins test matches. Now Schofield finding the open spaces. Good kick.
Yes, sensible play too from Gary Schofield, the old campaigner. He's also the captain of Leeds and a former Hull player. At first receiver on that, they still had one tackle up their sleeve, bounced the ball out, time ticking away while New Zealand get the scrum organised for their feet.
Freeman brings Hoppy in from the wing. Sean Hoppy scored a try in his debut test against Papua New Guinea last week. Kiwi fans will be hoping for a repeat of that today as they keep it alive. Now it's Gavin Hill. Up over the halfway line, pops it back to Brendan Tuta. 5 metres inside Great Britain territory. Brett Todd. 14-6. The Lions over the Kiwis. Clark, Kemp, Ero. Double round with Clark, but in fact it was Ridge that popped up in between them. Now it's Stewart. Freeman waits for it. puts it high into the air. Blackmore is racing through. He pops it back, and a Great Britain player, Andy Platt, is there to dive on it. Edwards, Betts.
At this point in the game, the Great Britain side do look a little bit more enthusiastic, and it was indicated there by Dennis Betts, trying to get on quickly and play the ball.
Well, a replacement on for New Zealand, Tia Ropati for Dean Clark. Now Great Britain inside New Zealand territory. Harrison.
Yes, and this is a danger time for the New Zealand side as well. Every time Great Britain have come down this end, they've scored, as we hinted earlier on, and here's another opportunity. The Great Britain side very, very creative on the edge of the play the ball area, Greg.
Well, they're about 20 metres out now. And another penalty to Great Britain. This time, Gary Freeman, the skipper, penalised. And the referee, Harrigan, is also talking to Brent Todd, back play, but Freeman not happy with that decision. But it gives Eastwood golden opportunity to add an extra 2.
Bread and butter stuff again from the Great Britain side. Just content to play the timeout, trying to get themselves a quick play of the ball. A couple of New Zealand players, the captain Gary Freeman in there holding the player down and conceding the penalty.
Here New Zealand getting ready for another replacement. Mark Woods, who had a good game against Papua New Guinea. And the referee has called time off. Again, Eastwood taking plenty of time. Eastwood from the Hull Club. Great Britain 14, New Zealand 6. Crowd not happy about the time wasting. No, it's waved away. Great Britain still out in front by the 14-6 scoreline. 26 minutes of play remaining. Ridge with the restart from the quarter line. Phil Clark. Tia Ropati in there, the replacement.
Yeah, if the Kiwis are going to get back into this match within the next 1 or 2 sets of 6, they've got to be able to force a turnover defensively from some of these tackles. Try and force the Great Britain side into making errors inside their set of 6.
Harrison.
Played very strongly, Carl Harrison, since he's come on the park. Made a valuable contribution to the go-forward play of the Great Britain side.
Schofield bringing Platt on the inside, 10 metres inside New Zealand territory.
Yes, Gary Schofield now starting to be really creative on the edge of the ruck, together with this man here, Sean Edwards.
Good tactical kick from Edwards. He finds touch. Mark Woods on the park now for New Zealand. And Brent Stewart replaced. He's done a power of work again in the front row, Brent Stewart.
Yes, he can hold his head up high. He's done very well. And it's a terrific opportunity too for the Nongataha Club in the Bay of Plenty and the Upper Hutt Tigers Club too, to see Mark Woods making another appearance for the New Zealand side.
Good run from Richard Blackmore. And the gap soon closes midway, halfway in the quarter line. Quick play the ball.
Yes,
Dwayne
very
Mann.
good play the ball, Greg, from Richard Blackmore.
Hill almost to the halfway line. Now Brent Todd. There's a knock on there. So while the scrum packs, let's go to the sideline, and Huey McGann is with Dean Clark.
Dean, obviously not a great position to be in, but the mood of the players at half-time and out there in the second half, you know, what are they actually feeling out there?
Not feeling that much pressure. They know they made a few mistakes, and they've just got to capitalise on the errors that the that Great Britain make. If we can cut out our errors, things can go well.
Yeah, I'm sure that, like everyone else, we can get back into the match. What was actually said by Howie at half-time?
He said just not to panic. We started panicking and throwing the ball around a bit. Just said to slow down and not to panic. We're still in the game.
All right, mate. Thanks for talking to us. Get back and keep warm, and hopefully be back for the next week.
So Great Britain 8 metres inside New Zealand territory now. Edwards down the blind to Clark. Bill Clark throws a dummy, but he was crunched by Pongia and Ito. Darryl Powell, one tackle to go.
Yep. Could have been close to a shepherd there, but at the last minute the player opted to go back to blind and not use it fully. That was a good decision from referee Billy Harrigan.
Stebbins given it plenty of air, and Bridges there. Gutsy stuff from Matthew Ridge on the quarter line. New Zealand's end of the ground.
Yes, and it's a hallmark of his play, Matthew Ridge. No shortage of courage or ticker since he came over from rugby union. That was a great play from the fullback.
Dwayne Mann.
Had a very strong influence in the game so far, Dwayne Mann, Greg. Very, very smooth work at dummy half and some great defensive play.
Well, here's a replacement, Mark Woods.
Yes, he'll work very hard around the play the ball area. He was an outstanding performer in the Lion Red Provincial Series. Mark Woods, and a hallmark of his play was valuable yards around the go-forward area.
Freeman. And it's on the line. Nice call. Touch judge goes the way of Great Britain, and it is going to be a handover.
New Zealand needs some creativity out here at the moment. They're just going through the motions and trying to just peg Great Britain down their own half. What they need to do is probably just put the little chips over the top and keep them guessing. You can see the confidence in the Great Britain team rising as this game progresses. The more and more confident they're getting.
You notice, Hugh, they've got Gary Schofield on one edge of the ruck, and they've got Sean Edwards on the other. That's a major threat for the New Zealand side if they don't shut them down.
Well, it'll always keep New Zealand guessing if they can guess which way the ball is going, or not guess where the ball is going. It's great for Great Britain.
On the lines, just going through the motions inside New Zealand half. Schofield looked to pop it up through his legs. It didn't come off that time. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve. They don't always work out.
Well, that thing didn't come off, but you can just tell by that they've got confidence. They think that they can do anything they like, and if they're allowed to do that, they're going to run right.
Yes, he was definitely trying to slip the ball between his legs. That's a major worry for the New Zealand side, particularly on defence. But they can put some pressure on the Great Britain side now, Hugh, if we can get some creativity on the edge the same way that they have been.
Brent Todd. 4 defenders in there. Halfway mark. Freeman. Te Aropati kicked it straight into the legs of Dennis Betts. Kemp was going to do the chasing, but Great Britain come up with it. Edwards. Stebbin to play it. 20 minutes to go in the match. First test on One World of Sport. Great Britain leading 14-6.
Yes, the Great Britain side do. They have changed their style of play since the first half, where they were very conservative and played very close to the play the ball area. Greg, we're seeing a much wider play from them now. We can just see off screen Gary Schofield's about 2 or 3 passes wide of the play the ball area, looking for an opportunity.
Final tackle coming up. Edwards again giving it plenty of air. Bridges back there, takes it as well, and O'Fire was right on top of him. 10 metres out.
Very good tackle from Martin O'Fire. There was a lot of critics of his play defensively early on in his career, and there's a bad mistake from the big centre, Kevin Ito. Martin O'Fire, early on in his career, Greg, there was an indication that he was a poor defender, but that area of his game has been tidied up.
Well, it was a short pass, and an England player was in there looking for the intercept. Kevin Ito thought that came off a Great Britain player, but the referee went the other way, and now a lot of pressure on the Kiwis as Darryl Powell takes them on. 20 metres out from the Kiwi line. Down the blind side, Edwards. He brings Stedman in from fullback. Todd and Freeman, 2 of the experienced campaigners in this New Zealand side. They have to dig deep and continue to lead by example. 10 metres out now. Schofield and Edwards. Sean Edwards. Schofield They're standing off Schofield, but Rob Party is there as well as Tudum. Now there's one tackle to go. Another try for Great Britain would surely seal it. There's still an element of hope in it at 14-6. Stedman goes onto the foot of one of the New Zealanders and a knock on there as well, so it'll be a handover on the 6th tackle.
I think Great Britain at that stage were a little unlucky not to get 6 tackles back because the foot was stuck out purposely by Dwayne Mann, which should have restarted the tackle count.
Yes, I think if the Great Britain player hadn't knocked it on, Hugh, they would have got another set of 6 and would have been difficult for the New Zealand side to have held them out.
Todd, again, takes 3 defenders to put him to ground. Mark Woods. Now he's lost it. So New Zealand just trying to force the pass. Gary Connolly.
Too many first up tackles being missed by New Zealand. They've got to really pick their game up if they've got to get back into it.
Phil Clark on the quarter line. New Zealand into the ground. Schofield, Edwards, Schofield, out to Dennis Betts, 3-on-2 out wide, but got hold of Daryl Powell and shut the movement down. Dennis Betts, 10 metres out. Edwards, Schofield, Clark, Martin Offiah, Martin Offiah turning. They've got 1 tackle to go in this set of 6. Clark, well, he took all the time in the world to pick it up, and that is the 6th tackle. Clark just seemed to lose the sight of the ball there. Now Richard Blackmore got away from 1.
One thing the New Zealand side's got to be very conscious of now is their field position. They've got to get away from their own goal line, get down the other end of the football field. They need a good set of 6, 3 or 4 fast play the balls to get a roll on, and then a good kick at the end.
After the match, we'll be naming our Ubix most valuable player of the day. It was pretty difficult last week when the Kiwis were running riot against Papua New Guinea, but they've been up against it here in Palmerston North, especially in the second half. Freeman. Stedman. A little fumble, but it was knocked back.
It's a rare mistake from Gary Stedman, but he managed to tidy it up. He played 5'8" for the Gold Coast a couple of years ago in the Winfield Cup competition and has had an outstanding season with the Castleford Club in the English Rugby League this year. There's been a great tussle been going on all tour between him and his close friend Steve Hampson from the Wigan Club for that fullback jersey.
Harrison, 14-6, Great Britain holding on. Betts to the halfway line. "16 minutes to go. The ball into touch, so we'll have a scrum about 20 metres inside New Zealand territory. Huey looks like a replacement for Great Britain as well.
Yeah, Gary Connolly a little bit injured, and the super sub coming on, and Joe Lydon, jersey number 14.
Joe Lydon's 29th test, replacing the 20-year-old Gary Connolly. Joe Lydon's wife had their first child while he was on tour, baby daughter, just a matter of a week or so ago. Morris Lindsay, the manager of the Great Britain team and the chairman of the Wigan Club that Joe Lydon plays for.
That's better stuff from the New Zealand side. From that scrum win, 2 quick play the balls, got good field position. Now they need some fast play the balls here.
And the crowd really getting behind them. But a breakdown there. But Morris Lindsay was saying that if it was a boy, he would have signed him up already. But Joe Lydon on the field now, and Teo Ropati getting New Zealand into a pretty good position.
Yeah, Teo Ropati, he's had a strong influence in this last set of 6 so far for the New Zealand side. A couple of good strong runs.
That is also what we need to see. We need to see Gary Freeman in there making some creativity and taking the ball on his own.
Matthew Ridge diving for the ball. It's lying loose on the ground. There it is, a try. That's what we needed. Richard Blackmore, but great chasing from Matthew Ridge. Blackmore was on hand. We're back into it now. New Zealand 10, Great Britain 14 with 14 minutes to go.
Yes, a very good team try in the end. Matthew Ridge providing the impetus when he decided to come up from the fullback position on the last tackle and put in a kick over the top. The Lion Red replay will let you have a good look and pick up the detail. Matthew Ridge comes in late, puts a kick in over the top, chases it himself. A lot of pressure for Gary Stedman there. The ball comes off his shoulder because Matthew Ridge interfered with him. Richard Blackmore comes through with good chasing to put New Zealand right back into this match, and a very, very valuable try, Huey.
It's a good fight back by New Zealand. I thought this was knocked on by Matthew Ridge. I thought it came off his hand. Bill Harrigan was on hand to say it came off his the shoulder of the Great Britain player. Richie Blackmore was there on hand. We'll just have another look as it goes up in the air. Matthew Ridge, similar to some of the feats he's performed at Manly this year. Great trace through by him. There was a little slack, there were no other players going through, but it's a little difficult to say. I would have said it came off Matthew's hand, but still, I'm not complaining. New Zealand right back in this match.
Well, Richard Blackmore scores the try. Ridge has to try and convert. He's done it. The roar of the crowd tells you. Just 2 points in it again. 14-12 to Great Britain. That should give the Kiwis a real spark.
Tiro Party and Gavin Hill too had very strong influence in that try as far as the rucks that led up to that last try. That was a very good team effort.
Another replacement for New Zealand. Mike Kawiti in jersey number 15 has gone on to replace Quentin Pongia. That's great work, great replacement by Howard, because Mike will certainly make a lot of difference in this side. He'll certainly liven things up.
His fifth test, Mike Kawiti. Gavin Hill to the quarter line.
Yeah, good strong row from the runner from the Canterbury Banks down second row. Gavin Hill, again, he's played very strongly in his second test for New Zealand.
Wayne Mann allowed to stand in the tackle. Midway, halfway in the quarter line. Brendan Tuta. Woods. Final tackle now. Freeman has the grubber kick. Hoppy's charging through and fires there, but it beats them all into touch. It'll be a scrum. Midway, try line and the quarter line. Great Britain end of the line. Came off a Great Britain player.
Another very good set of six from the New Zealand side. Well rehearsed play.
Well, they're in with a real chance now. Hello, Kemp, Road Party, Ridge. The sliding defence read it pretty well, though. That's the quarter line. 2 points in it. Penalty. And rightly so. Lydon and Clark in there. Harrigan was right on the spot. Edwards not happy with the decision. He always has a bit to say.
The Lion Red replay. Matthew Ridge had the ball on the ground, was trying to play it with his foot, interfered with by Joe Lydon, and referee Billy Harrigan from the Winfield Cup in Australia correctly ruled as interference, and a penalty has been awarded to New Zealand. A bit of concern on the Kiwi bench with Matthew Ridge, Greg.
That is a major concern. Here's the goal kicker.
Gavin Hill has the ball at the moment, and Halligan is going on as well.
What a replacement at this time, and as we see one of our great goal kickers, Matthew Ridge, going off. Well, he's been replaced by another one, and Daryl Halligan. Certainly we're not going to be discomforted by that.
You see on the Lion Red replay, Matthew Ridge looking rather distressed.
Well, a little delay here, but it looks like it's going to be Hill. Now Matthew Ridge, oh, that's a sorry sight. Such a strong game as well. Matthew Ridge in a lot of pain there. How unfortunate for the Manly fullback.
I think it's a rare occasion in New Zealand Rugby League, Greg, when probably 3 of the top 5 kickers in the Winfield Cup competition happen to be in this current Kiwi squad. Gavin Hill from Canterbury Bankstown, who's performed so marvellously well for them this year in the Winfield Cup competition, their leading point scorer as well. And Daryl Halligan from North Sydney, who's just been subbed on to replace Matthew Ridge. It's really an indication of the depth that's now evident in the New Zealand Rugby League. Times have changed, haven't they, Hughie?
Oh, no doubt at all about that. But we look at it in they're all ex-rugby union converts that have made the transition, but it's great for New Zealand Rugby League.
Well, this will tie it at 14 all. With 9 minutes to go in the first test. I hope you're enjoying the action on One World of Sport. Well done, Gavin Hill. A pressure kick. Ridge is off, Halligan is on. And the first touch of the ball for Daryl Halligan. So Howie Tamati has used all his 4 replacements. Used them well too.
Yes, one thing they will do is they'll inject a lot of enthusiasm into the side at a time when a lot of the big blokes particularly will be getting tired because of the fatigue factor that's taken its toll in this match.
Well, that try that was scored by Richie Blackmore has really inspired the Kiwi team. Not only that, it's inspired the crowd here. It's tremendous feeling down here.
Wayne Mann. Freeman. Back to Halligan. Opportunities today. Got plenty of chases to push off. He's lost it. The referee says it went back. The crowd disagree.
How lucky were Great Britain in that case.
Huey, how did it look down there on the sideline? From up here, it looked like it definitely lost that ball forward.
Well, he lost it definitely, and if anything, I'm sure it went forward too.
Well, Edwards comes away.
Still, the New Zealand side are starting to defend enthusiastically, which is going to be a key at this point in time in the game as they try and get the ball back.
After the match, we'll be naming our Ubix MVP, Player of the Day for New Zealand. Second test is at Carlaw Park next Sunday. See that on One World of Sport. Let's hope there's a big crowd in Auckland to get behind this Kiwi team as well, because the people in the Manawa too are right behind them at the moment. Hoppy. Kawiti. Freeman. Wayne Mann. Tia Ropati. Cavallino charging through. Freeman has it. He was tackled without the ball. Back to 1. Ropati. New Zealand inside Great Britain territory, inside the quarter. Mann, 15 metres out. Now it's Todd. 8 metres out. All of a sudden the Great Britain defence looks a little rattled as Tuta charges onto it.
I tell you, if we score, this place is going to explode.
Fantastic atmosphere at the ground. Marvellous occasion for New Zealand Rugby League.
There's a drop goal. It's there. The Kiwis are in front again. 15-14. 5.5 minutes to go. Daryl Halligan lands the drop goal.
Yes, fabulous effort from the New Zealand side. Again, set play, presented with an opportunity when they put the kick down from the last tackle, and it came off a Great Britain hand, which allowed them to be able to get another set of 6. And on the last tackle, Daryl Halligan back, standing deep at first receiver. Marvellous drop goal to put New Zealand ahead, 15 points to 14. 5 minutes to go in the match. A crucial play for New Zealand.
Also another replacement on for Great Britain. Paul Hume has gone on to replace Lee Jackson.
Now to Wayne Mann. Todd. Oh, he'll run all day. 10 metres from halfway.
Kiwi, the message for the New Zealand side: complete their sets of 6. Field position, good kick, deny the opposition the football.
Just continue what they're doing the last 5 minutes and they'll come away with this game. But don't underestimate Great Britain. Anything can happen. They've got players in their team who can score from anywhere.
Yes, the New Zealanders just need to settle it down. 1 tackle remaining in this set of 6. Freeman. Clark. And the New Zealanders have to retreat 10 metres. Stedman, 20 metres out from his own line. 4 minutes remaining. And this Manawatu crowd has really been behind the Kiwis today. They've really lifted the performance in the second half.
Yeah, that was a great defensive play too from Kevin Edel. The slide defence was on from New Zealand. He left the line, came up, made a valuable ball and all tackle. Now the New Zealand side in there in numbers making crucial tackles. Great Britain can't get away from their own goal line. This is gripping stuff indeed.
Great defence by New Zealand, great work by them, but I think Gareth Freeman should be playing in the second line at the moment. He's up in the front line. Daryl Halligan standing well back on about the 70-metre mark. All they needed to do, Great Britain, is put a little chip over the top, so Gary must play in the second line.
Halligan. Good take. Charges at O'Fire.
Yeah, he's got plenty of courage, this Daryl Halligan. He's been a marvellous performer for the North Sydney Bears. Great to see him in the Kiwi colours. Brent Todd, the Gold Coast vice-captain and Kiwi vice-captain, playing very strongly. Led from the front all day.
Tuta. Well, we said at the start of the match that the more experienced players like Dwayne Mann, Brent Todd and Gary Freeman had to lead the way. And I think they've done it today. 15-14, the Kiwis in front of Great Britain, and what a great match it's going to be as we see Dwayne Mann trying a drop goal that's going to go dead. What a great match it's going to be at Carlaw Park next Sunday, the second and final test. You'll see that on One World of Sport. Hope you're enjoying the action today. Can the Kiwis hold on for another 2.5 minutes? Powell to the quarter line. Woods has him. Hill has him. Mann's in there as well.
He's had an outstanding game, Gavin Hill, both in attack and on defence for the New Zealand side. Made some valuable tackles. Been very busy in around the hard part of the game, dummy half area.
That's a replacement on for Great Britain. Paul Hume. Long pass. Bit of a speculator. Powell is out there, but Iro has him.
Yeah, Sean Edwards opting to throw the long ball out to Martin Ofoi's wing, but it come off his wing into the middle of the park, which meant that he wasn't there to take the ball. So again, their big attacking opportunity has been lost. Here's another great example of the marvellous defence by the New Zealand side.
Penalty to Great Britain. Todd stole the ball in the tackle. Lydon finds touch 5 metres from halfway. This will be possibly the last set of 6 for Great Britain. The Kiwis will have to dig deep. Have the Lions got one final ace up their sleeve? Phil Clark. Clark again, 10 metres inside New Zealand territory.
The Great Britain side, they'll go looking for Ofire.
There's the kick from Schofield. Ropati knocked it back. New Zealand have it. They just have to hold it for 6 tackles. And they would have reversed the scoreline or the 1-point loss to Great Britain on this ground 2 years ago. Dwayne Mann. Well, in the third quarter, Great Britain were well and truly on a roll and looked really safe. But this New Zealand team has come back. And Kawini. The crowd count down the final seconds. It's all over. The crowds storm on to the park to congratulate their heroes. At half-time, Great Britain led by 8 points to 6. And at full-time, Gary Freeman and the New Zealand Kiwis have pulled off a dramatic victory by 15 points to 14.
Did a superb job too, Gary Freeman leading the side. It was always going to be a very, very difficult match for the Kiwis to play in because of the professionalism of the Great Britain side, who stuck to their guns at the middle of the play the ball area throughout the whole match.
Disappointment for Great Britain. Celebrations for New Zealand, no doubt. 15 to 14.
Coverage of today's Rugby League International, the Kiwis against Great Britain, was proudly presented by One World of Sport and Lion Red.
Pressure, you've got to get back and keep moving up. Australia's very good at it.